How impressed were you overall with this match? What did you take out of it?
What an awesome game. Both teams scored 2 tries while the other team was down to 12 players. So it shows you how crucial it is, not to have people in the sin bin, but how good these two teams can be when the other team's down. Although Angus Crichton was mostly different, he drove Mitchell Moses absolutely mad, come up with some brilliant offloads, some try saves. He pretty much just looked the strongest person on the field.
I believe he went to the centres when Jennings went off the field with a hamstring. I thought he did a great job there, set up a try. Daniel Tupou scored a couple. This was a great moment. Mitchell Moses showed his speed here.
Quick.
Regan Campbell-Gillard was on the treadmill. But it was a quality game, wasn't it? I thought Lindsay Collins was outstanding as well.
Yep. I love this try. It was quite early, Dylan Brown, but he exploded in the second half. I really like the game plan Trent Barrett put out. They got Kelma Tuolungi. A lot of the times with players in motion, one-on-one with Sam Walker. And he quick play the balls and they're playing off that. But in the end, too many guns for the Roosters. Angus Crichton, he was unbelievable.
Look at this kick here by Sam Walker.
Too good.
Non-preferred, going right to the line. I thought the winger for the Eels was exceptional too. Young Blaze Talangi, he's such a good player. The first year of first grade, I think he's only 18 years old. He still looks like a baby.
That play there, I wanted to highlight that play. So the game was won. They were in front by 14 at that stage. That was the last play of the game. Like, if they score, who cares? They still win. But the desperation to get there on that last play, 2 players to get there to put that winger out, that was an amazing play for the Roosters. It shows a lot about their character and attitude.
Just the effort areas?
The game was over. They won. There was no need, really. It's like, oh, they're going to score.
Well, it's a standard, isn't it? That's a standard. Every moment's important. And I felt they set the standard throughout the week, to be honest, with Brandon Smith. You know, Brandon Smith didn't uphold the standards of the club and the players of the club throughout the week with a meeting that he missed.
Here's another save.
And he didn't play.
Well, there's that save. Luke Keary saved one on Blaze Talangi, got his hand in there and touched the ball. The try was taken away. So there's 3 tries.
That's the difference.
Well, this is it. The game is won. So the game, they're in front by 14. But just have a look at the action. Have a look at Tedesco and Keary just to keep them out.
Well, for me...
And have a look at the reaction of the players. That shows they're on their way, the Roosters.
Bill, you mentioned Blaze before. Yep. He's played in a number of positions since making his debut. Where do you see him best? Are you just looking at him as an out-and-out footballer? You just think he's
at the moment,
growing star?
And you know what? He is learning so much about so many different positions right now. There's no doubt that he's going to be close to the action, whether it's fullback, 5'8", maybe in the centres. But he's playing well above his years. 18 years older. There was a moment when the camera was just on him. It might have been after an error. And I was just looking at him and he just looked like a baby. He looked like a school kid, you know, which he is. He's still a teenager. So I just think he's a wonderful player. You know, I know he's off contract. I'd be doing everything to keep him at the Eels. And you know, if I'm another struggling club, I'd be doing everything to try and get a player like Blaze Talangi. He just looks like he's doing so much right. There
was also a number of sin bins, and the match review committee this morning has released their charges. So Kelma Tuolungi is facing 4 weeks for that lifting tackle. He spent 10 minutes in the bin as well. Do we think, firstly, 4 weeks, is that probably spot on? And should it have been more? Was he lucky? I
think maybe it's a little bit harsh, but since that one there, it's hard for Jared to pull out because he drops. But on the Tuolungi one, in the end he lands on the back of his neck. But since probably the Alex McKinn accident, they've been very, very strict on lifting tackles. I think maybe a little bit harsh, maybe 2 to 3 weeks.
That's a couple of inches away from being a disaster. I just think it's irrelevant. The penalty to me is irrelevant. It's just about what's gonna make players think about, you know, that action, and you know, whether it's a fine, a week or 4 weeks. I really don't care, but that's a dangerous tackle.
But the reality, I suppose, is the higher the penalty, the more deterrent it's going to be. So you know, I thought 4 was pretty harsh. He landed on his shoulder, but you're right. He's not far away from something horrible happening. Jared was tough.
Yeah.
There was a delay in the game, and you could see they were playing for the delay in the game, and that happened a couple of times. Parramatta actually delayed in the game to try to get a
dummy
favourable
half.
decision, and I think there's got to get to the stage where we can't be lying down.
Well, the referees are doing a good job with that.
Yeah, they're trying to, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Wade Egan one also. There was one and he got clipped high.
Yep.
And they just said play on.
I'll be saying that. I'll be saying unless it's sin binnable, which actually Jared got sin bin, so I've got to say that's a fair decision. Unless it's a sin bin, then you don't get the decision. Simple as that. And that way then, and if you lie down, you actually go into the head injury assessment. So it sort of deters people from
I actually feel
down.
Jared tried to pull out.
He stopped.
Yeah.
He
hits
can
him and
see his
stops.
arms
You see his hands coming.
try and pull out. I thought that was a little bit harsh.
All right, well, let's talk about the Melbourne Storm and the Warriors across the ditch. The Melbourne Storm securing a 38-24 victory over the Warriors. A bit of a seesawing affair, this one. What did you make of Melbourne's efforts?
Well, we're talking
tilted one way.
What did they have, Freddie? 3 play the balls.
3 in 13 minutes.
In 13 minutes. I can't believe Craig Bellamy is still alive. But they went on to win the game, showed a whole heap of resilience. That man that kicked the ball, Jerome Hughes, he has been exceptional in the absence of Cameron Munster. Grant Anderson's been doing a great job filling in as well. So, good moment for Dianir Amir. That's his first game back in first grade from doing his ACL last year. Didn't play a game last year. And this guy just keeps getting better. Ali Katoa playing against his old team. But I must admit, after 15 minutes, I thought, wow, the Warriors are on here and this is going to be a disaster.
Any other club loses one of the best fullbacks in the comp and then a freakish 5'8". So no Pappenhausen. I know they got this young gun. And also no Munster, but they still keep getting it done. Sua Fa'alonga, what a player. Also, Wishart, geez, he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
He's
Competes.
he's too good a player to be starting on the bench. Geez, I reckon if you got a hold of Wishart, you could turn him into a top-line dummy half.
They had 2 blokes sin bin. Melbourne, he scored both his tries actually while the Warriors had someone in the sin bin. There was Jerome Hughes showed his experience, took a quick tap, ran straight at Marcelo Montoya.
Yep.
And he was gone. That was a dumb play. That cost him. When he did that, they scored a couple and the game was pretty much over after that. And the second one was a high tackle, I think. So 2 people in the sin bin, not good.
Sua Fa'alonga, watching him, he's such a star, obviously 2 tries as well. What happens, where does he fit into the side when Ryan Pappenhausen is back fit? Sure, he has to be in it.
You make it work. But there's more.
He's made sure he competing with Wishart though, really, isn't he, on the realistic stage? Well,
we just
he's
spoke
got to
about
prove.
injuries.
He's got to prove that he can play other positions. Have you seen him play other positions?
Sua?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's played on the wing.
Yeah.
But he defended the front line at 5'8". That's
Playing dummy halves,
That's
not
what I
beyond
mean,
him.
dummy
I
half,
don't
yeah.
think playing in the middle is beyond him. He's a tough kid, and he's still learning the game. He's a wonderful player, and he makes you smile. He's an infectious guy. He's got a great attitude with a lot of respect, and he's got a big future down there in Melbourne.
But Melbourne's history are renowned for having players. They just put them there and they just make it happen. Cooper Cronk started, playing lock forward. I know they do it with Queensland as well, but Melbourne have punched a lot of players out and said, what if you want to be part of this team, Pappenhausen, you need to be able to be versatile. And
they don't just put them there either. They make sure they're ready when they're there. So they've got a great system underneath. The assistant coaches that Melbourne have are doing a wonderful job there. So when the Sua Fa'alongos, when the Tyrone Wisharts get an opportunity in first grade, they're ready to go. They're not raw. They've got the experience and they've got the standards of the footy team under their belt. So it's no surprise that those guys are coming in and getting the job done.
Yeah, great to watch and great problem for the Melbourne Storm to have as well with too many players in certain key positions.
one player who was good for the Warriors, Mitch Barnett, scored a try, come up with a couple of good things again. He's knocking on the door.
Starting on the edge, he can play in the middle. That's a luxury.
And they named the team this afternoon. I'm sure he'll on the extended list for the Blues. So it's a good chance he'll be either there or better.
This was one probably, I think it's fair to say, not many people would have predicted on Thursday night. The Dolphins with a narrow 2-point victory over the Cronulla Sharks at PointsBet Stadium. Did you see this one coming at all?
Not at all. I thought they were absolute morals at home. The Sharks, especially coming off, they got hammered by Penrith last time they were there. But they just keep keeping on. The Dolphins, we all know they're well coached by the super coach. No Tom Gilbert in the middle, no Flegler, no Jesse Bromwich, but they still get it done.
They're two back rowers playing front row. They had Felice and
Kenny Bromwich.
Kenny Bromwich.
Yeah, incredible. The Sharks hit the front after the Dolphins scored the first 4 tries. It was a bloodbath at the start, and then the Sharks actually hit the lead. We spoke about the Hemiso Tabuai-Fidow try earlier in the show. Just before that, it was Will Kennedy who actually got one over the hammer, and he did the reverse on him. But when are we going to start thinking about the Dolphins as a premiership threat?
I've been saying it all year.
They're sitting in the top 4.
They
and
have been.
If you watch the actions in their
So
game,
people don't keep underestimating.
yeah,
I've been waiting for them to fall. I've been waiting for them to fall.
Well, I think it was coming into this game, they actually hadn't beaten, all of their wins came against teams that aren't currently inside the top 8. And this was their first win this year against a team that is currently in the top 8.
away from home.
It shows you how good this try was.
Yeah.
When you talk about great tries and great moments of your year, this was the first time they beat a top 8 team. The team actually coming first, or I think they might have been coming second.
Yeah.
And that was to put them in front to win the game. Like, it was just it was a moment.
How big of a win is that then for the Dolphins, considering who it was against? It was Cronulla were in second at the...
Absolutely huge. I didn't work on this game. As you could see, the coverage went downhill a little bit. But I sat at home and I watched Isaiah Katoa, everything. Off the ball, the way he played, the way he defends. He is an absolute gun. He's only 19 or 20. Wow, he's going to be playing rep footy, and he's a 300-game halfback. He is an unbelievable talent.
So how far do you think the Dolphins can go then?
Well, they can go as far as they want to go.
How far do you see them going?
Well, you
What's
don't
your mail
know.
on
We're
Flegler?
guessing.
Like, I hear so many things. I know he's done a nerve.
Yeah.
Like, is he...
No, they don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know.
It could be, they're saying
Well,
it could be career-threatening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Jeez, that'd be sick.
It's not. It's not good. They've got to wait for the nerve to re-spark, really, and that can take weeks. It can take months. It may never re-spark. So there is a risk in and around his career. I don't think he'll play again this year. I think Wayne Bennett has spoken about that, but. Yeah, it's really disappointing because he had elevated himself to one of the elite front rowers in the game.
You know, he was a State of Origin
Big part of
star,
last year's State of Origin.
When you were
for Queensland.
coaching the Origin, did you get younger players into camp?
Yeah.
Geez, I'd be getting Isaiah Katoa and Ethan Strange in.
So Isaiah
in
Katoa
around
was
the
a
group.
tricky one. I actually had to speak to him about his allegiance because he could also play for New Zealand. So that was one of the issues I had while I was coaching there.
Can we get his number,
made a phone
please?
call and, his management. So that's a real murky area, actually. And we've spoken about eligibility and all that sort of stuff. He's a kid who grew up out in Western Sydney, played all his footy there, but he obviously has ties with New Zealand.
He's played for Tonga already, hasn't he?
Yeah, he
he's
played for
played for
Tonga,
Tonga.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the second tier nations doesn't matter. It's New Zealand, England and Australia.
Did you get to the bottom of it?
Well, let's get to
no,
the
I
bottom
spoke
of
to
it ASAP.
I've spoke to him. I can't remember, actually.
Just lastly on this game for Cronulla, the fact that they were down, was it 22-0 after 20 minutes?
Yeah.
How concerning is that for the Sharks going forward?
Well, you look at the concerning part in the start of the game for Cronulla, but then the positive is they actually hit
They
the
came
front.
back and hit the front.
They scored a try in the corner. Nico Hines had a shot to level it up from the sideline after the siren. It was a wonderful game.
That was a moment. Like sitting there,
This was it here.
they scored the try at the death. There was 45 seconds to go. Katoa got caught out actually defending on the edge. They scored the try and you could the whole stadium just sat there and it was just this moment because Nico had the opportunity, obviously. Everyone's spoken about Nico. Pressure.
As a kicker, you dream of these moments. And you only get one or two during your career, but as goal kickers, you absolutely dream of the game on the line like that.
You know, watching him, it was pretty cool. His teammates came over, but, I thought he handled it really well.
Do those ones affect you when you...
That was a tough kick. Let me tell you, That was a very tough kick. There was a big southwesterly breeze
You
coming.
know what? You'd rather
so
it
was,
from there than halfway between the ones you're expected to kick. At least on your sideline, people are like, no, he's not going to nail it.
That was still a tougher kick. That's the toughest kick you had at Shark Park that night. So, you know, like he missed it and he had an opportunity to erase some demons, I suppose, but that was a tough kick.
What about on Friday night at Accor Stadium, the Bunnies with the win over the Broncos? For the Bunnies, belief is high at the moment. They are still a chance of making the top 8. I think they can lose maximum 3 games, and then they can still make finals footy.
High on confidence, their best players back. Very hard to win their best players, but their best players are all in great form. I had a look at their draw. Their last 2 rounds, they played Penrith away, I think, and then they play the Roosters at home, the last round, which them games might decide where they finish. But great performance, key players firing, high on confidence. They're going to go on a run. They're going to keep winning.
The one thing that's not in their favour is their for and against is terrible. It's like minus 126. I think you look at the Roosters, it's plus 100 and, you know, you've got James Tedesco saving a try in the last 2 seconds of a game to stop 4 points. South Sydney need to get that type of attitude because it definitely could come down to for and against. If they go on a great run like Joey hopes, and we all hope because they're great to watch, they want to stop some tries.
They got the commitment side of the game right. You know, when you play in the wet, that's the first challenge, and that's the first thing challenges you is your physical commitment side to the game, and they got that right against the Broncos, and they've won 3 in a row now. They're only 3 wins outside the top 8, so it's up to them whether they can do that.
They've had 2 buys.
Yeah.
2 buys,
Yeah. But that doesn't matter because you still get an opportunity to win the game. You know, while it's still in your hands, you're in control, and they've turned things around. Ben Hornby's done a great job over the last month, and they're sitting in a better position now than where they were a month ago.
Alex Johnson broke your record. What a moment.
Incredible.
What a moment.
193 tries. He's only in his 11th season, and I've got no doubt that he's going to become the greatest try scorer this game's ever seen. Ken Irvine has got 212, so he's got 21 to go. He scored 30-odd tries 3 years in a row. So, like, in a year or a year and a half's time, he's going to be crowned the greatest try scorer of all time. And just that try that he scored there, his 191st try, he still had to think about his footy. It's not like he just catches the ball.
He showed the talent in that try. He showed his talent, the depth.
And the acceleration
the
and the timing of it. He's got a lot. He's benefited from a lot of good work from inside him, but he still gets it right, his job. He's a wonderful player, and I can't wait till he sits at the top of the tree.
There was another good moment, sorry, and I interviewed him after, and I had to bring it up. He got stood up by, what's his name, Dean Mariner. It was a brilliant, it was a brilliant bit of footwork. It was such, it was a young bloke at his absolute most fit and fast. Roger Tuivasa-Shecked him. He just went in, then come out, and Alex said afterwards, he just went, wow, that was pretty clever. Got Rogered. This year, NRL on 9 is your one-stop shop for all footy.
That's right, Freddie. Not about the highlights, action, 7 days a week.
Billy and Gus podcast, get that on your drive on the way home. Immortal Behaviour, grab a seat on the couch for that, and of course my favourite, Freddie in the Own.
The best footy brains, the biggest games.
Don't trust the algorithm, subscribe to NRL on 9 and get all your entertainment there.